And this portion of Garage Logic, which is normally occupied Johnny Heights newscast, is brought to us by our good friends at North American Banking Company. Find them online at nabankco.com.
And you are being subjected today to the Fresca swilling Tom Hauser from 5 Eyewitness News.
So I have to ask you a question. You were mentioning the convention and everything else. Is it just me? I have not noticed a lot of political ads because normally aren't we inundated by this time of the year, or am I off base here?
Not usually, because there's not as many people watching television in the summer.
In the summer, okay.
But you're going to see a pronounced increase. Well, pretty soon we have our August 13th primaries.
Yep.
And we have several contested races worth watching. U.S. Senate race.
Yep.
Royce White, not Royce Lewis.
Right.
Made that mistake more than once. Royce White against Joe Frazier. Down goes
Frazier.
Yes.
And then you've got Michelle Fischbach has a competitor, Stephen Boyd, over in the 7th district. You've got a couple of Republicans running in the 2nd district who want to go on and face Angie Craig. And then you've got Ilhan Omar and Don Samuels.
And Ilhan's already running ads.
Yes, she is running ads.
In fact, I mentioned this last week, Tom, and I don't know if you caught this, but at least the one that I saw, the campaign ad was listing, all the things that she's doing for the state of Minnesota. All of them are inadvertently directly linked to all of the fraud cases.
Yeah.
Feeding kids, homeless. It's just like, it's almost like she's playing it. You know what I mean? It just felt like she's laughing while
she's probably
putting
still
that
going to
ad.
win.
Right. I just thought that was
that's going to be a close race, I believe. Remember, it was 2 points last time.
Well, and basically, it's the primaries, everything, right?
In that particular race,
for sure. Yeah.
Well, and the same thing in the 7th district. A Republican is going to win that seat,
sure,
regardless of who wins the primary. Same thing in the 5th, where Omar is. In the 2nd district, Angie Craig probably still the favorite, even though that's really our one swing district that is left.
Because that was close last time, wasn't it?
Relatively close. It wasn't as close as we thought it would be.
What was his name? Tyler Kishner?
Yeah, Kishner. And he ran a couple of times, but I think she ended up winning by 6 or 7 points.
Oh, okay.
We expected it to be closer. Okay. But, the abortion issue really changed the dynamics in that race. And I think it widened the margin of victory for a lot of Democrats. They're not going to have that issue to the same extent this year. So we'll see what comes of that. But one ad that I did hear a portion of on the way in today, Joe Biden trying to, you remember he did that rally the day after the debate?
Yeah.
And he came out. And
he looked like he was mad.
He was energetic, Joe, and he's yelling and screaming. Well, they've already turned that into a TV ad. And you can't convince me ever, because I know how these things work. That was all a plan. You got to get up there. You got to show vim and vigor.
Yep.
And then we're going to turn that into an ad, and we're going to plaster that around the country. And that is already in the can, and it's in the works. You'll probably see that sometime soon.
Do you think that they being the Democrats, will agree to another debate?
Well, they already have.
Oh, they did?
September 10th.
Okay, and you think that's still, they're going to stick with it?
It's ABC News, so that'll be 5 Eyewitness News and ABC News, but it'll air everywhere, but ABC will provide the moderators for that. It'll be
you. Aren't you doing it?
No, it'll not be me. Who would want to step into that arena?
Right. Come on, as a journalist, you wouldn't want to do that?
Oh no, it would be fun, but it's going to be Lindsey Davis and David Muir who are going to do that. And I still don't know. I still don't think the ground rules have been agreed to, whether there's a live audience or the same thing with the cutting off the microphones. I do enjoy the cutting off the microphones things.
Rook mentioned it. I loved the format. I really did. I mean, granted, it was a disaster for the left, but I really liked the fact that there wasn't a crowd, the fact that they were, I actually really liked the format. I really did.
And there's not as much stepping on each other. So pretty soon you don't even know you can't remember what the question was. You certainly don't know what the answer is.
Right.
And that still happened in this format. It didn't lend itself as much to following up. A lot was made of, well, Biden couldn't speak and was bumbling, and Trump couldn't tell the truth. And in reality, both of them spent some time not telling the truth.
No doubt.
Trump was probably the leader in the clubhouse. CNN did a fact check that he had 30 falsehoods to 9 for Biden. 9 is still a lot. 30 is.
Wait, I didn't know we were keeping score. There was a little scorecard. Oh, I didn't know that. Yep. But you know the part about the last time that was we're not going to get magical moments like this.
The question is, the radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your?
You shut up.
How many times have you wanted to say that to Rookie? Would you shut up, man? Or have you done it? Maybe you done it.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't know. I didn't mind that there wasn't a crowd. I thought it's going to be kind of stale and different, but I didn't mind it at all.
Well, because there was so much drama playing out on stage. I mean, is Joe Biden going to stay upright for 90 minutes? I mean, it sounds, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful. There were people honestly going, boy, is he going to be able to stand up there for 90 minutes and go toe to toe with Donald Trump, who, for whatever faults he might have, a lack of energy is not one of them.
No, that's true.
And he's an entertainer. He knows how to, play to the cameras and to the audience at home, whether there's a live audience or not. That is his arena. And, he played it to the max. And really, on the margins, so many people have already made up their minds. It's those independents you're going after who are going, man, maybe I'm not a big fan of Trump, but at least he shows some strength and vigor. Right. Whereas the other guy, we don't know if he's going to be gone in 6 months.
What percentage of that, the swing vote I'm saying now, what percentage of that is it a third? Is it a quarter?
Probably a little less than a third, I would guess. Like when we do our polling, I think our last poll in Minnesota was 34 to 35% Democrats. These are people who self-identify, 30% Republican, and it was 20% independent, some whatever adds up to 100. And so, but that's a sizable amount. If you've got a close race, if 20% is independents, you've got to go after them.
Race on your hand, right?
So, so we'll see what happens with that.
What was the last? I mentioned you moderating. I was joking, but the last one you did, was that the governor's?
Let's see. We did governor, attorney general, U.S. Senate.
And you did all of those?
Yes. Among others, we had some of our anchors involved. I was involved in all of them. And I was actually more a panelist. We had a moderator, and that was kind of the traffic cop. And then it was me and one of our reporters from WDIO in Duluth.
Okay.
And then a MinPost reporter.
Gotcha.
So we were the ones asking questions, but I've done, I don't know, dozens of debates.
Sure.
You
enjoy it though, don't you?
I do. It's, and I like it. I like it when you can actually get answers from people. And I try to stick to it. Like I won't move on to the next question until you've answered the last one,
sure,
regardless of what the format might say. And I'm not a big fan of those rigid formats where, okay, you have 2 minutes to answer, and then you've got
1 minute rebuttal.
1 minute for rebuttal, and then when you're done with the rebuttal, you got 30 seconds to rebut the rebuttal.
Mm-hmm.
I like a free flowing. Let the moderator decide. Okay, we've heard enough. Let's move on to the next one.
It's kind of like how Rook and I feel about working with Joe. We just kind of let it flow.
It's kind of
We're not big believers in show prep.
We're going to move on.
Right.
We're going to move on here, Joe. Just moving on.
Well, I hope I am holding up that standard of lack of preparation today.
So far, right in. Well, as Rook and I mentioned before you got in here, it's just, we have a phrase, Tom, on the show, and this is what we call party week. This is
I'm pretty much checked out this whole weekend. My body is here, and I know that my mouth is moving and words are coming out, but I don't have a plan.
And I'd be a little more because of the holiday week, but I look at like the weather, and we could use a better forecast for the 4th of July. It's not a washout, but it's 50% chance of rain, scattered showers probably throughout the day. Same thing on Friday, but then Saturday, Sunday, sunny and 82, sunny and 70.
See, I will take all weekend what we had and today. If it doesn't get above 80, you ain't hurting my feelings.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
We have not had a hot summer yet.
My daughter's pool. I got a nice little sunburn. Polish tan, red and white.
Did Papa Bear have a little nap at the pool? Is that what we're
you know
saying?
what? I was the I was well behaved at the pool.
Oh, okay.
I was the driver, so I was actually well behaved.
Good for you.
What would poor?
That's when I got home.
What would poor behavior at the pool entail?
There was at this particular pool.
Is it ogling, like you pull the glasses down, like
you can't
like
see.
the Caddyshack pool scene?
I got the heavy duty shades, so she doesn't know where I'm looking. But
Well, we did have, didn't we?
there was some drama at the pool.
Oh,
there
no.
was one gal had a little too much to drink, and she was shouting at another one when they were telling her to just go up to her apartment.
Time for a nap.
She went up to her apartment. She came out to the balcony and was still going, rah, 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 and my daughter was not having anything of it. She was saying, go inside. And
was this a friend or just a neighbor?
no, she wasn't in our party. She was on the other side of the pool.
Gotcha.
But I know there's two garage logicians guys that listen to the podcast.
Okay.
That were at the pool.
Well, Tom had asked you about a specific incident. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but we did have a pool incident. What was that, 2 years ago? When my man over here, Rook, had a little trouble getting out of the pool.
That was at the pool.
Was there a baby Ruth involved?
No, that was at the Pool and Yacht Club in Lilydale.
Oh, sure.
And instead of using the ladder, I thought
boy.
I was just going to get out of the pool.
I know where
in the
this is
deep
headed.
end.
I know where this is headed.
And one of my children thought it would be a really good idea to film me doing this. And I gave it a good old, 3 or 4 times to try to get up there.
Yeah, at least.
And then just basically said, screw it.
So
And
trying to pull yourself up.
Yeah.
Inside the pool, not using a ladder.
Like someone in somewhat decent shape could do. Not a big, fat, 50-year-old man.
That's had too much Harmony Spirits.
Yes. And I finally gave up and just swam over to the ladder and said, yeah,
I'll just go over here.
Swam over to the shallow end and walked up the steps.
When you open the dictionary like you used to way back when, as people used to say, that picture would be there right under defeat. Yeah. That would be the visual.
Well, it
defeat.
had a better ending than I was anticipating, because sometimes if you come up the ladder and you pull yourself out of the water too quickly, if your drawstring on your swimsuit is not tight enough, sometimes the shorts can come down just
right
a little
down.
bit.
We were
just a little bit.
Just a bit.
This is before I had kids, and so once a year, my entire family, my siblings, my parents, we go camping, an excursion, normally around this time of the year. And I remember we were at a resort. I believe it was somewhere up north. I don't remember the exact resort. Great place, but we decided,
is it for sale?
Let's bring it right. I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's bring the kids. Let's bring the kids swimming. So I brought my niece and my nephew, who were really little at the time. We were going to go take them swimming, and of course, we're all walking to the pool and we're all half in the bag. And my younger brother decided he was going to go down the slide. Like, look at Uncle Robbie, so great. And he did it. It was fine. Well, then, he's about the same build as me. And then there was another dad who was larger than us. And he decided he was going to do the same thing. And
slide.
It snapped. Like the base of it snapped as he was coming down. And I don't know how anyone didn't get hurt. It was the funniest thing.
The base of the slide.
So like it'll turn a little bit, like it's like the blue slide.
Yeah.
And he was so large, it snapped as he was going down. I don't know how
the slide.
He didn't break his neck or how any other
impaled
kid
on something.
Exactly, but it was just. I thought, that
and then he had to do the swim of shame.
You know what he did? That was the game of flaws. The rest of that camping trip for that poor guy.
Oh yeah,
that's all he heard about from the missus.
Remember when?
But that comes up from time to time.
You do know that he's still hearing about it today.
Oh, 100%.
She just took that and put it right in her back pocket and can just take it out and show it whenever she wants.
Did anybody capture this moment on video?
I don't recall if anybody did. At least nobody in my family did by chance. But, oh, God, it was so funny. And I thought, that guy, as you just said, is never good. He's never going to live that down.
No.
Remember the slide?
Going to the archives.
One thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention what I did this weekend, which was awesome. I went to a reunion of WHO television down in Des Moines.
Oh, cool.
Where I used to work I anchored the morning show there from 88 to 92, the morning and noon show. And then I came to Minneapolis from WHO in Des Moines. We had a reunion that some coworkers of mine from 30 years ago put together. It was a blast. We put it on our WHO TV Facebook page that we threw the date out there like 6 months ago, and some people responded, some didn't. So you didn't really know
who was going to show up.
So I drove down there, spent a couple nights down there visiting some of my old haunts and whatnot. But it was so much fun to see people, not just people who were on the air, but like one gal that I work with, Tiffany. She was a reporter, and I was a reporter. She's now the mayor of Cedar Rapids.
Oh, wow.
And which is kind of cool to have somebody. Cool. And then I'm one of the few people still working in television. All of the other, like my old co-anchor, Lori Groves was there. She's no longer in television, but we had a lot of the people from the production department, the people who worked on the floor crew. I mean, just these people who were good friends of mine for 4 years, haven't seen them in some cases in 30 years. And it was a blast.
Anybody that still is working there and chose not to go on and do bigger and better things?
There's only one guy, the chief meteorologist, Ed Wilson, is still there. Didn't show up for the reunion, oddly enough. We're still trying to figure. But he's still there. He's the only on-air guy still there from when I left.
Wow.
But here was the real bonus. I mean, not that it was fun seeing all these people. Oh, and by the way, don't get me started on Minnesota liquor laws. We went to this place. If you're ever in Des Moines, let me give you a great
By the way,
piece of
underrated city.
Oh,
Des Moines
absolutely.
is a great city. Yeah.
And boy, in the 30 plus years since I left there, I liked it when I was there, but it has gotten very upscale in some parts of, especially in downtown. But they have this brewery called Big Grove Brewery. And apparently there's a chain of them. There's one in Cedar Rapids, and they're in a few cities in Iowa. You go in, this place is massive. But imagine this, you can have their brew that they brew locally, or guess what? You can have a mixed drink, or guess what? You can have a glass of wine.
Isn't that just?
Oh, and guess what? Right. You can order food off a menu, not from a food truck. And I'll just show you guys from, I know the.
It's hilarious that you're bringing that up.
Just a shot.
That looks cool.
I mean, it was just, and it's all brand new. It's like literally kitty corner from WHO TV where I worked. You could see it from the front steps. And I was saying to some friends of mine, good thing this didn't exist when.
That's not the Cromwell. That's not the Cromwell.
That is not the Cromwell that we used to have down the street.
Is it by where the arena is for the basketball and hockey? Is it?
Oh, it's not far. No, it's a mile away.
Okay.
You could walk to it.
Sure.
Like I stayed at the Marriott downtown, which was a little less than a mile. I walked back and forth. But here was the greatest accidental find ever. You guys, fans of Marshall Tucker, the Marshall Tucker band.
Of course.
Somebody says, by the way, he was burying the lead. He goes, hey, the big Des Moines Art Festival, which is a huge, whole nother deal that I advise anybody, if you love art, go down there and check it out. They have a big music stage. The Marshall Tucker Band was playing like less than a mile from where we were having a reunion. So when the reunion ended at like 8 or 8:15, we had started at like 4 in the afternoon. A bunch of us walked down there. We come around the corner. We're like right in front of the stage.
That is so cool.
And we only got to hear the last few songs, but I heard Ramblin' and Can't You See. They ended with Can't You See.
That's cool.
And it was outstanding. What dumb luck was that? I've heard Marshall Tucker, like a Taste of Minnesota in years past in different places in Minnesota. Saw him back in his heyday, them in their heyday, and now, and it was so much fun.
That's cool.
I love reunions. I don't know how you guys feel about reunions.
Hell yeah.
Whether it's high school, college, old TV stations. I did one at Wink TV down in Fort Myers about 20 years ago. Same day Hurricane Katrina was demolishing New Orleans. It had just glanced off the Fort Myers area. Fort Myers got theirs with Ian a couple of years ago. But anyway, I love reunions.
Cool.
So
that's very cool.
It was a lot of fun. Let's take a break and we'll